Yes, YouTube. Good morning and welcome back again. Finally, we retested the 786 on the daily. We're still bullish. We're rejecting the 618 now on this bearish daily candle. It's also this strong resistance of this inverted head and shoulders on the daily, what I showed you guys yesterday. The thing is, actually, we didn't hit our entry, and I want to show you what happened and why our entry didn't get hit, but our model played out. So that's a little bit the thing, especially when you trade on 200x leverage, you want to have the best entry possible, because I always like to start immediately in the green numbers, right? Sometimes there's a possibility when I jump in on the 618 and they retrace the 786 that I need to be in red numbers, but most of the time I want to be in green numbers immediately. So my entry needs to be perfect, right? So let's strip this thing to the bone to understand what happened and what we can expect for today, right? Because I'm expecting crazy pumpage for the coming days. So stay tuned, Let's go to the chart. So as you guys can see, we're watching to BTC to USDT again, and this is a beautiful retest. This is what you want to see to stay bullish. Actually, we didn't hit the 786. We stayed on the 618. That's also a confirmation that you're crazy bullish. Actually, that's what I always tell you guys. In a bull market, we only buy 618s, or I only buy 618s, right? In this case, I wanted to wait for 786 because there's crazy liquidity underneath this WEEX here, but we didn't came there. There's still a possibility that we come there, because if you measure this drop, and you backtest this. Let me check. If you measure this drop, you can see it's 4%. It's a little bit more than $1 billion they need to drop to sweep this kind of liquidity, And the thing is, usually when they sweep liquidity, it's 4%, 5%. This was a crazy sweep actually, but you'll have to go to the DNMS toolkit. Let's go to the 50-minute. Let's backtest this together. And what you can see actually here is this was a small drop. Let's go to the, I don't have that indicator here. So what you can see actually here, I will show you the liquidity sweeps during New York later on, right? But you can see that actually we didn't hit our entry here, right? Because I was thinking they played on this one, but they played on this one actually, and that's a little bit scammy, because I think there's a lot of liquidity or sell side liquidity or entry liquidity of the big guys, right? They try to push the price to stay in the gains actually. But I showed you guys many times before how they manipulate these markets. And what you can see actually when you go to the 4-hour, more accurate, then you can see that they stayed above the 786 or the 618 on this one, on the daily actually, because this candle closes higher. But if you go to the daily, then you can see how nicely we stayed above this 618 here. This model played out, so it's not valid anymore. We missed the entry actually, but the outcome was perfect actually. You can see that we're heading to TP2 and that we're creating a reversal now at this moment. So what I'm expecting now for BTC actually is to come down. There's a possibility that we still come for sell side liquidity here to hit the 786 on the daily time frame to go crazy up. We need $1 billion to make this drop possible, 4% with the current market cap. Let's go to our toolkit here, and then you can see actually all the sessions on the 15-minute time frame. That means that here we entering New York session, and you can see that they're dropping the price 2%. Let's search for a crazy sweep. %. This is a good one. This was in the afternoon of New York. 3.3%. So there's a high possibility that we still come down, right, to the 786 to grab sell-side liquidity to fly crazy up. So keep that in mind. That's actually what I tried to tell you guys, is that there's still a possibility that we come for sell-side liquidity. But the 618 is very respected, so that means that there's a high possibility also that we will see more upside from here on, right? And that we will retrace this 786. When you go to the 1 hour, you see it more clear. Actually, you can see this crazy wick. This was actually a stop hunter, as they call these things, to grab sell stops from people who are going long here to eventually go crazy, right? Yesterday we made a pump of almost 4%. You know, that's crazy liquidity actually. So what I want to see now during Asia is the price to come down to the 786. The trick is with day trading to catch the daily bottom before New York, because we know that during New York the most volume comes in. You know, they have the biggest amount of traders, retail, but also institutional. If you go to CoinGlass, for example, you can see how the market cap is divided all over the world, right? And then you see that the USA has the biggest market cap, and then China, and then Europe. So actually what I'm expecting now here at this moment is BTC to come to this 786, but we don't know for sure actually. So there's a high possibility that we also come to this 786. So what we can do here actually is we can just enter here on this 786, and let's say we make this this order size a little bit smaller. That means that if the price comes down more, that you can build up your position, right? So we can say entry, let's say 2% of our total account, right? %2 of our total account. So we don't use a stop loss actually. We can use a stop loss, but let's put him somewhere here, right? And then we take a big risk because I just explained to you guys that there's still a high possibility that we come for sell-side liquidity. So we can get stopped out here, right? I always suggest you guys to use a stop loss. There are some traders, including myself sometimes, that I don't use a stop loss, but I want to see certain levels get respected. If I don't see them respected, I close the trade myself. And if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where these levels are, then you can lose all your money. So I will not suggest you to don't use a stop loss. So you can use a white stop loss here in this case, and just close your position 100%. Yeah, and then sky is the limit actually, because if you go to the daily time frame, this is the 618 on this candle actually. I know that. Or on this one, excuse me. So you can see how perfectly we hit it. So I'm waiting for this entry to come to the 786, but actually when we come to the 786, we also broke this strong resistance level, right? Is that correct what I'm saying? Yes. So we need to close a candle above. So we need to retrace a new 618 or 786 or maybe the 200 on the 4 hour. Yeah. So we need to close a candle above the 200 moving average to remain bullish, actually. So what you can do is you can enter here and then just let it play out and wait for confirmation of a candle above this 200 or this strong resistance level to become support again, right? And once we are there, yeah, then it's almost all in, guys. You know, we have this inverted head and shoulders as I showed you guys before. You know, the thing is with the inverted head and shoulders, you can predict your target. You take the top of the head to the neckline and you pull it and you set it up above this neckline, like on this neckline, right? So when we close a candle above this neckline and this moving average 200 and this 786, 3 times confluence that you're crazy bullish, then you can build up your position, you know, then you know you go to the moon. So actually that's on a gain of 15%. So this BTC should go back to 100k once we break out of this resistance and this inverted head and shoulders pattern. You know, let's stick to Fibonacci actually. And let's see what Fibonacci is telling us. So let's say we enter here. We wait for confirmation that we break this 786 and this strong resistance and a candle close above this 200 moving average. So we go back to the daily and then actually our next target, according our inverted head and shoulders, was 100k, right? Somewhere here. But there are still some other resistance levels actually. We need to break this one. There's a lot of sell side liquidity, so we can snap up to this liquidity pool actually. That's what I'm thinking. So that's why this entry is so important, because I think this entry will be the best entry now this week you will get, right? We missed this entry, but you still have an opportunity to catch this right up. Yeah, and then our next target should be this one. And that's actually the last one. You know, once we break this one, then you know we're going back to all-time high again. So guys, let's finish this thing. You know, let's say that we will retest 90.4k. So let's make our take profit. Let's draw our take profit there, because we can expect some reversal there. So you want to take profit and build up your position again actually. So let's say this is our take profit. So we have our entry and we have our take profit and our stop loss. But what you actually want to do here, because we're entering here with a low position, a small position, right? We want to build this up, but once we see that this 786 is respected, we just add to our position. I'm adding to my position. I put 3% more in this position once I see this 786 is respected, right? The 786 on the 4 hour or the 1 hour, excuse me. It's the 786 on this one, right? So once we see this one is respected, I add 3% more, then I'm total 5% in the trade. Once we have this reversal and we close the candle above this swing lows, just put your stop loss above break even, take out your order size and let this thing play out actually. So guys, we have a take profit above here, and you also want to take a little bit more profit on this 786. So actually we have our model already for today. You know, Let's make a long position here and let's see what our risk reward ratio is. That's actually a nice trade, right? So we have a risk reward ratio of 3.4 and a gain of 7.6%. That's almost, yeah, let's say 1500% on 200x leverage, you know? So as that said, guys, nice trade, wide stop loss, you know, be conscious about, be aware of what you put in the trade, you know, only put in the trade what you can afford to lose. Start small, and once you see that this 786 is respected, build your position up, you know, wait for a candle closes above this 786, and then, you know, it's pumping time, you know. As that said, guys, I thank you all for watching. If you want to level up your trading, join the Crypto Gainers. The link is in the description, and I thank you all for watching. Stay safe, make profits, and God bless you all. See you in my next video.